Hey, it's your professional sarcastic man in secret of attention, Els Chris, here with reviews on The Amazing Spider-Man number 20.HU and Marvel Team Up featuring Spider-Man and Ms. Marvel number 2. So on to Amazing Spider-Man, the fourth. Wait, Black Cat, Gibbon, Lizard. The fourth tie-in to Hunted with these .HU issues. So written by Nick Spencer, art by Corey Smith, and coloring by Eric Arciniega, and the cover by Greg Land and Frank D. Armada. So Vulture has risen to be the de facto leader to all the animal-themed villains and rogues that have been captured by Kraven to be a part of Hunted, and he gets an invitation by Arcade, who pretty much explains the entire plot to him, and he gives him a device to get an edge on the hunters that they're facing, and Vulture takes it, and that's it for the main part. He's able to use it to take out some of the hunters and to rally more to his cause, and that's pretty much it. And then there's a secondary story in here about Vermin, which is written by Nick Spencer, art by Tyler Crook, and coloring by Joe Caramagna, about Vermin being tortured by Arcade, and how in issue number 20, how there's now multiple versions of Vermin. So overall, with this issue, for the Vulture story, 4 out of 5, completely optional. Vulture getting this device is not touched upon in issue number 20 or when you see Vulture and his group attack the hunters. Yeah, it's not mentioned at all that he has a device with him that is able to disable the hunters. So pretty much how a tie-in should be completely optional. I like the story of this. Vulture thinking he's now top dog, and he's not only does he have a one-up on like the other villains and Spider-Man, but he thinks he has a one-up on Kraven and Arcade, not knowing that he's still being manipulated by them to enact the rest of Hunted. So, pretty good. Art by Corey Smith and coloring by Eric Arciniega. 4 out of 5. I like the art and coloring on this. Pretty much a top-notch art and coloring for the whole of Vulture's story. And the cover by Greg Land and Frank D. Armada. 4 out of 5. Pretty good art, pretty good coloring. Trying to see, where did Greg trace this, huh? I'm kidding, I'm just messing with you, Greg. The Vermin story, 3.5 out of 5. Above average. I would say it's kind of necessary, as you don't really see how suddenly there's multiple Vermin in issue number 20, so it's kind of necessary. While the Vulture one was very optional, this one kind of a bit. It was above average. It was an okay little story. Vermin all alone, being tortured. He just wants company, someone to help him, be with him there. The art and coloring, 3.5. The coloring wasn't that bad. Art for the most part is not bad. I'm just not a big fan of how Arcade, his face is drawn. Very oddly comical, and yeah, just pretty much oddly comical for some reason. I'm not. It kind of differs between panels how his face is drawn, depending what expression he has. It's very kind of off-putting, but yeah. That was it for ASM. So on to Marvel Team Up. Peter and Kamala have now switched lives. Kamala is now Peter Parker, and Peter Parker is now Kamala Khan, and they have to navigate their new swapped lives, proving to be very difficult for them. But at the last moment, their bodies, their souls switch back to their original bodies. But as soon as they meet up again in order to find the doctor that created the machine that accidentally caused this situation, they're switched back again, and they kind of have to forced to live out each other's lives. So Kamala as Peter has to attend a job interview on Peter's behalf. Peter as Kamala has to attend school, facing off against bullies, having to give a presentation, and experiencing cramps. That's odd, and pretty much that's the main crux of the issue, them having to deal with each other's, not only their lives, but their powers as well. Kamala isn't able to instantly be able to use the web shooters properly, or Peter's Spidey sense, and vice versa. Peter's Kamala isn't able to use Kamala's and humans' powers properly as such. When he embiggens, as Kamala calls it, his head gets big and his arms just get long, and that's it. He can't use it properly, but mainly that's it. I do want to talk about this part because there is a part where some bullies just say, don't bump her, Caitlin. She might get mad and do a jihad on you. And she's like, wow, what you said to me was racist and Islamophobic. And then Peter and Kamala kind of talk about it a bit. I was a bit worried as soon as that came up. I don't know, just this weird part of me just was a bit worried that it was going to get preachy a bit about all that stuff. But luckily, no, it really wasn't. It's just they just kind of talk about it, and it's just like Peter relates. I've had to deal with bullies as well when I was young. So I know how you feel being bullied by these two people. Well, to be fair, I really got really bullied by the one person, but he can relate to the situation. So story. 3 out of 5. It was an average little story. Not amazing, but not bad either. So yeah, it was okay. It was average. The I've almost forgot. Story was written by Eve L. Ewing. The art by Joey Vasquez and coloring by Felipe Sobrero. 3.5 out of 5. Above average, but I will say, the art was definitely at its best in this part here. Probably this alone would these 2 pages alone would be worth a 4 out of 5. The art and coloring on these pages alone are so good. The rest above average, 3.5 as I said, but these 2 pages alone, 4 out of 5. It was really, really good art for just this part. Just Peter and Kamala just chatting, just hanging out, having a bite to eat, etc. The cover, which was by Stefano Caselli and Triano Farrell. 4 out of 5. The art and the coloring was really, really good. Kind of captures the whole them being swapped in each other's body now. So Peter wearing Kamala's clothes, Kamala wearing a version of Peter's clothes as Spider-Man. Although I wish we had more than just the kind of yellow sunset, sunrise background. But the main focus, Peter and Kamala, the art on that and the coloring on that, really, really good. So that is all for those 2. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you all next time.